Hey everyone, Dallas with SFR here. Today we're going to be talking about our new tie rod sleeves for the 6th Gen Bronco. These are a great simple way to add some strength to your factory steering system. Beefs up the stock tie rod without going so overkill that you'll be risking damage to the steering rack itself. It's pretty simple. I got a stock tie rod here to show you. So the most common place for them to break is right here in the threads. That is the smallest diameter. So right where the jam nut fits, right at the end of that, that's where it's going to bend and break every time. Now there are some other companies making similar sleeves. They bring it up to this hex area, which is bigger. It is stronger, but it's still smaller than the round shank here, which is your biggest, strongest part of this stock tie rod. Our sleeve covers all the way up into here, reinforces this whole section, puts the load on the strongest part of the tie rod. Now, of course, this tie rod is still going to be your weak point in the front end. This isn't going to make it indestructible. The idea is just to raise that strength level so that you're not constantly breaking them on the trail and you're not as likely to be out there wrenching in the dirt. So let's show you how they're installed and get right to it. So here you can see the passenger side sleeve that we already installed and how everything looks fully assembled. As you can see, there's still just a little space there before the boot. That gives you room for any alignment adjustment that might need to be done, but gets it all the way up onto that largest diameter. All right, first things first, we got to break loose the jam nut here. For that, you're going to need a 21 millimeter wrench, and a 20 millimeter helps if you want to hold on to the flat spots here. Or if you like doing things in American, 13/16 works on the nut too. So we're just going to back that off just a tiny bit, just to get things loosened up. And now you'll see we got the stand over here. I've already broken loose the nut on the ball joint end of the tie rod end. I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on there. They do make tools for this. I've had mixed luck with the various ball joint tools. A lot of them tend to tear up the boots here. Best thing I've found on these, put a little bit of pressure, upward pressure on there, and just smack the knuckle around here, around the tapered spot, and it'll pop right out. There we go, easy as that. By the way, this nut here, also 21 millimeter, or a 13/16 for us Americans. All right, now this is free. You lift it up. Now here's the careful part. If you're doing this in your driveway, you want to avoid taking your Bronco back to the alignment shop, which we highly recommend, but we know that a lot of people like doing things themselves. There are various different ways to mark these things. Best way that I've found to do this, you just get your tie rod in, so the shank's straight up and down. Then you're going to slowly back it off and count how many turns you back it off until it comes off the threads. So we're going to do that right now. Just 1, 2, 18, 19. Oh, it's just hanging right there. 19 and a quarter, roughly, on that one. The other side we did, it was at 22 and a half. So you're going to have a little bit of difference here. You know, don't save my number, you count yours. Now, another method, some people like to use. We just barely broke our jam nut loose, so it's right up at the stop there. Take a Sharpie in here, make sure you get right down in those threads. That'll mark the jam nut location as well, which will also be the sleeve location. That works. It's not quite as precise as counting the turns, and when you dial it off, it tends to remove your Sharpie marks. So not quite as reliable there, but I have seen some other people have success with that method. All right, now let's grab our sleeve. Super simple. Let's thread this guy on here. Now I know someone's going to ask, hey wait, you're covering up the hex there. How do you adjust this thing? Well, we made a conscious decision to cover up that hex because it increases the strength by moving the support up to the fat part. Now generally these tie rods, they're nice and tight. They don't like to twist. You know, I'm spinning this nut on, no problem. However, you can squeeze this clamp, move it back, use a set of soft-jawed vice grips or pliers. You can still grab that shaft without marring it up, as long as you're careful, and you can rotate this thing to do an alignment on the vehicle. All right, so we're gonna come back here. Now, we got 19, and it was about a quarter, thing was clocked back over here, so I'm gonna hold it in that position so that we catch the thread at first time. Rotate it. All right, we got it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right, here we go. There's our setting. We're back lined up again. Drop it in. I'm gonna put our nut back on here and crank it down. I'll come back with a torque wrench and get that to the proper spec before I'm done. Now, last step here, just to tighten up our sleeve. Again, 20 millimeter to hold on to the tie rod end, and in this case, 15/16, or I think it's 23 millimeter for just grab on here and snug her on up, and you know, keep an eye up here, make sure it doesn't rotate. They normally don't. Get that nice and tight, and we're all done. So that's all it takes to get a little more strength in your 6th gen Bronco steering system. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one.